were there any self stuns by Gremlo by himself in the lane last game? Do you recall that?
I do not. But we're gonna have actually no more Gremlo self stuns.
No.
That's sad.
No, we're stuck with the Pale Horse self stuns now.
You think he'll be able to hit them as well?
It's really hard to hit the self stuns. I think Gremlo's a bit of a specialist in that regards. You know, I see him training on his stream basically day in and day out to be able to do this for the team. While Pale Horse, he's a bit too greedy of a player. I don't think he'll stun himself. He'll probably choose to stun the enemy team because of his playstyle, you know? But we'll see, though. We'll see if perhaps Gremlo can have a little bit of an influence on the Pale Horse carry Alchemist.
We'll have to keep an eye on it.
I'm by the way expecting. There's another one. I'm by the way expecting probably a late swap from Pale Horse. I think they might try and, if not do some lane shenanigans here, like maybe try lane, maybe try and just get a first blood with the Marcy being in your lane early on. Something like that here strikes me as very possible this game. This is like a carbon copy of game number 2. It's kind of weird. Of course, slightly different picks still, as Rises will scout a couple of enemies as he goes up to the high ground. I don't think he scouted the ward being placed, however.
We've risked quite hard to take down level 1. He's gonna be fine.
Even with Sakuchi having a much longer cooldown. Not easier to stay on top of this guy.
Are you ready to run?
Also, remember last game how Soul started on top of the cliff and used all of his mana and his game was over?
Yep, that's the reason they lost. That's why Rise is disconnected. Gremlo is...
keep that in mind.
Yep, it's a lane swap for now. Arkosh are going to set up a couple of wards here to try and scout this early on. Rise is... He's really just seen one hero, and he kind of knows already. This is a Radiant ward. I already know that the lane swap is going to be executed here. So up goes Pingu. Up goes Monster. To the dismay of Pale Horse. And up goes Monkey as well. So we'll leave Gremlo alone down bottom. But over mid, 3 games in a row, same exact matchup. Are you expecting a different outcome this time, or do you think Soul will still have a big advantage coming out of the laning stage here against Rudy?
So, I think this matchup is slightly Void Spirit favored. But so far, Soul has looked really good, like laning-wise. So I feel like he's gonna come out on top slightly. Just slightly.
It's been a decent enough lead the past couple of times, to be honest. Like 600 gold out of the laning stage really is what I would call it. As Soul has been able to really, you know, pretty consistently throughout the game avoid these Aether Remnants, which is pretty impressive for me. Usually the Void Spirits end up taking this, and because Puck kind of sets up for it, it ends up being a little bit advantageous for Void. Not so much, at least in this particular matchup between these heroes, players.
So for now it looks like Pale Horse is doing reasonably well in this top lane. The downside with playing your carry in the off lane is of course that you don't really have a lot of space to fall back to jungling. Like if your lane goes poorly, you're gonna have to walk all the way back to your own jungle. So you can't really jungle in the triangle until you have some levels.
Very true. Pale Horse also going for the 1-1 early on here, so a sampler of the active abilities, not going into the Greedle's Greed quite yet, which does put Monster in a bit of a back foot here. That second point now is into Plasma Field. We'll see here how Monster decides to lane this. If he thinks this is going to be a difficult lane and a losing lane matchup, he'll probably end up maxing Plasma Field first to recover and farm a bit faster. Or if he thinks he can actually bully the Elk, more points into the Static Link. I'm not too sure what he'll end up going for, to be honest. They did swap lanes in order to have this matchup specifically, so I assume that they're going to go for Static Link here and try and get some kills off of this, but it's not too easy, really.
I think the second level in Static Link is pretty much a given at level 3. It almost doubles in value, and afterwards it kind of depends on the flow of the lane. Sometimes even if you think you can win Monster.
Yep, quick rotation in for Monkey to set up for Pale Horse. He does know how to throw the stun, does not connect it onto himself. That's going to be allowing Pale Horse to pick up first blood here. Down bottom, Don't really think they can look to set up that easily onto Gremlo. There is a toss available. We need a toss target, and Gremlo's going to cover himself here with fire. That makes him a little bit of a difficult target to jump, but the toss still comes through nonetheless. Gremlo down into the river, using the path in here quite effectively, but Ryza still connects there on the Sakuchi damage, has the vision. Gremlo needs a couple more uphill misses. I think he even found one that might have been enough here, but Flea with boots is actually just barely faster than Gremlo and should have a kill here. Not quite with a self-toss. I think the damage reduction should be enough, but there's an avalanche in 8 seconds. Gremlo heading straight for the Ancient Camps to see what he can get done here. Unfortunately, finds himself tossed and killed to go towards Flea.
Very close. That wasted a lot of time as well.
Nice winning.
No one for Arkosh was able to soak up the XP.
Yeah, and good play there by Rises, who doesn't get distracted very long by the kill attempt. Immediately back into the lane to continue CSing. Top lane is where they're looking to really apply pressure for Arkosh. It's pressure, but it's a lot of space here for Pale Horse, who finally has dipped a point into the Greevil's Greed, just the one. 2 still in the Acid Spray, as he's continuing to farm at max stacks. Pure efficiency on this man.
And I get that they're tri-laning top. If they pressure the Razor enough, he might rage quit like last game.
That's true. That is true. Of course, this time it is Monster, who may or may not have the disconnect bug as well. Gremlo's going to die again, this time under the tower. 9 stacks of the Napalm on Weaver, as Rises once again returns to the game, returns to tip in Gremlo. Top lane, it's going to be Monster who takes a death. Once again, Pale Horse is able to figure out how to throw the stun. Should teach that to Gremlo. But it's going to be a second kill onto Monster. This top lane starting to look really difficult. And it seems like Flea is now going to start to rotate away. He's made this move consistently all 3 games this series, and it's worked to get kills onto Rudy. This time Rudy's actually going to go home and TP in to contest the 6-minute rune with an empty bottle.
Also, he has 2 raindrops.
But he does. I think if they're in your backpack, do they still? Yeah, he's got to put them in his stash. He sold the one with 3 charges, didn't he?
Uh-huh.
It's not in the stash. He's going to make the jump. This time Crow's here to assist. Crow, though, tanking up a bit of damage to the Dissemblate. Good prediction from Rudy. Resulted him getting the kill. Finally, a matchup here. The 3rd time's the charm, you could say, for Rudy. And they are able to get the kill and likely the power rune. This is huge. This is very big for Arkosh.
Yeah, didn't even need the silence. Well done. Rudy should be able to get the top rune as well.
And it's Monster who's starting to really struggle as well in this lane. 3 points now in Acid Spray for Pale Horse. Means he can clear these waves incredibly quick. Gremlo starting to get these stacks of the Napalm up a second time. He's got Crow in the vicinity. But they scout Flea here on the Observer Ward. Rises. He's going to have to use the time lapse there. Not too comfortable here with the position he was in, as Flea goes for the toss back. Silence not in time, as Flea's got off all his spells, but not enough damage here onto Gremlo to really easily get that kill.
Weaver is such a strong hero against Batrider. So you can run away wherever you want and you don't really care about the slow. And the swarm is really difficult for Batrider to deal with.
Crow's going to go around here. He picks up both supports on this Observer Ward, so he's going to set up another Observer. Maybe just rotate towards the mid lane, where he might expect one of these supports eventually to go out over towards. Gremlo not too happy to be bottom anymore, with 3 heroes just sitting on him camping. So instead they're going to look top lane, where the Dispose is out. Should be another easy kill onto the Monster. Even the Flame Break here allows Gremlo to get involved. As Monster on the run. 2 charges here. He's got a couple of stick charges, but we need to wait 10 more seconds to use them. He's got to straight line this, though, because if he turns, yeah, Gremlo's going to be able to use that Napalm slow. Monkey gets the Dispose off, puts Gremlo with an auto attack range, and steals the kill out from Pale Horse. I'm sure he's receiving a walloping in the voice chat for that. The kill eventually goes the way here of Arkosh Gaming. Nice play there by the Marcy. Mid lane's also pushing in favor of Arkosh. They have, in the meantime, a completely abandoned bottom, which does allow Rises to get this tower. It's the nice part about when you do lane swap, the carries are already in the lanes, which they want to push.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be a very quick Maelstrom for Rises. And I would expect the Linken's afterwards.
And Crow is dying to the A-core.
Radiant's bottom
The
tower
Warpine
is under
Raider
attack.
gets the kill there. They bounce the the siege shot a couple of times, which means that Rudy is now almost out of raindrop charges. He was already on his last one. Kind of to be expected versus a puck, right? But that's his second stack now that he's purchased, so start to run out of this regen and run out of the raindrop charges.
Pilhois is closing in on his relic, but it by no means is a super fast one. Like, this is the point where he kind of struggles to find a place. Because they don't really have control over bottom, and top is getting kind of risky.
There you go. Boot can kill him very easily. Move into the, moved into the disseminate by the Resonant Pulse, and that's at least going to stop Rises from getting ganked, who's farming very aggressively in the enemy jungle this entire time. There's a lasso up top lane onto Flea, but Flea's a little bit too tanky for that. That'll trigger the TP from Soul, but Grumlow's very evasive here with the Firefly. So he's just TP top to clear the wave. But this is Arkosh now starting to show signs of a little bit of a weakness in their draft, which is tower push. Not too big of an issue, but when you do have yourself an Alchemist on your team, you know, he's not going to suffer that much. It's more or less the rest of his team's going to suffer. Because Alk can farm with less space and still farm efficiently, but the rest of his team will not. They're going to have to take aggressive farm. Rudy's going to have to show pretty far on the map, and against a puck lineup, you know, and Tiny, that could really start to turn on its head here for Arkosh. It's kind of what happened in game one for them.
They need to get this Alchemist online soon. Because they're losing more and more of the map, and as you mentioned, they're not really pushing towers, so it's gonna be difficult to get back any of the map control before Alchemist gets big. I feel like it might be too late.
Rises, still lurking down bottom. Crow doesn't have the silence, doesn't have really the magic damage here either. Without the Mystic Flare available. So hard for him to get much done there. The top wave is just continuing to be farmed by Flea. He's really close already to the Blink Dagger. And he's still pretty farmed as well for a support. It's really Monster who is probably the one to experience the toughest lane stage. And as a result, barely has gotten himself up to what I imagine is the Falcon Blade online. There it is, being delivered. Straight into BKB, of course, for Monster, but it's going to be a while until he gets that back online. Still lots of map control, though, for Alpha, and the benefit of having a hero like Weaver on your team is he can take a lot of dangerous farm. You know, normally you'd expect your core to be kind of where this Alka is over in the triangle, and you'd expect the offlaner to be kind of where Weaver was harmed. But Weaver's actually better suited for it this game, so long as he's clear of the Skywrath Mage.
Dire's bottom tower is
Looks
under
like
attack.
Rises has a pretty crucial role in their team.
Oh, and Pingu doing a great job breaking the smokes here. Does get pulled into the lasso. That ought to be a very easy kill onto him. Indeed it is. Kill goes the way of Crow. Has level 6, so he's got a Mystic Flare to threaten. And Arkosh, still with numbers, are going to look to try and steal the stack. This might be detrimental here to Alpha. They were hoping to get this one online, but Flea's now showed up with a Blink Dagger, ready to maybe catch someone. Monster leaps up to the cliff and rebounds back off of it. But it looks like the eco damage not really too significant against Alpha, as Arkosh are only able to get the Ench kill and immediately are going to get away from the jungle. They don't really want to overstay their welcome. Radiance for Pale Horse, I think, is about to be finished, though, right? Yeah, he just needs a Talisman of Evasion. It's a little slow, I'll call it. Usually you want your Radiance by at least 11 minutes on an Alk, is what I've found. Okay, Avatos, Flea finds his mark with the Blink Reveal. That's an easy kill here, or is it? With the Dispose, the rebound into the coil. Nothing really they can do here on the Skywrath Mage, but he's still getting off a couple of spells, including nice Mystic Flare. That's not enough damage for Pingu, and continuing to tank through Gremlow's fire damage here. Monkey eventually at least gets a kill, but Monster now showing up to the fight to play for some cleanup duty. It's Soldo with 2 kills as the Link is fairly good here for a Razor. It's only 2 points in the Link, so only 22 damage. He did end up putting at max in here at the Plasma Field. That'll be rewarded here as Soul ends up with 3 kills here in this mid lane scrap. Nice rotation through from Alpha as they're actually going to look for the entire team white. Flea gets the toss back here. Soul does not have the coil, though. Skywrath Mage is alive and has already TP top as the pick pull from the Alchemist. Who's going to get him out of dodge. Nice play there by Arkosh, but again, it's Alpha who continue to constrict the map here. And that is not going to allow Arkosh to get a lot of farm on their secondary cores. That's problematic. That's been the case all 3 games. And so far, Rises has not disconnected.
Yeah, that's definitely a bad sign for Arkosh.
There goes, it snaps. Flea with the toss back as well. They've got Monster in the vicinity. He's going to start stacking the damage. A great avalanche here catches the 3, but they don't want to commit for this. And they only needed another 150 damage, but still we could see why they didn't want to commit, because Gremlo is able to connect there onto a very nice dispose. Dispose is what they were looking for there. It's the Flaming Lasso that will condemn the puck, and immediately a smoke play from Arkosh, who might go back into the jungle, maybe fishing into the triangle. Rises has been farming here pretty much unbothered for a while. Has got a full Maelstrom and soon Lincoln's.
Dire's top tower is under
Be a nice
attack.
catch. But without Lasso, can they do it? I guess with Crow, you always can. Right now, though, Flea is going to break the smoke gank, and he's an easy kill. Down he goes. And Pale Horse gets the tower he wanted top lane. All right, not bad. Not bad from Arkosh. They continue to recover this game. Not like they were too far behind, really. Picks up the DD rune. He's going to be killing Gremlo here, perhaps, or maybe they'll get through him first. They will. Rudy there with a double kill. He's doing much better this time around. Still going for a Yule Scepter, though, after the Witchblade.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Rises has his Maelstrom finished and is closing in on a Lincoln Sphere. I would have expected him to maybe be a bit more active, but he did take the tier 1 already.
Yeah.
I guess he's just gonna play a bit more defensively until he has the Lincolns.
Yeah, it's a scary game, right? I mean, and it's going to get even a bit scarier with him, assuming Rudy does go for the Axe build after Yule's. But I think before Lincoln's, he's just too scared of Skywrath, to be honest.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I was gonna say I would really like Gremlo to get a Blink Dagger this game, just because of the Sky combo, but he is definitely getting one after his drums.
Drums first for him. No bots here on the offlane Batrider. Might eventually become the Boots of Baron. Movement speed slow. Not super useful this game. At least it allows you to ignore the enchant slow, but that's the only one they have this game. And Witchblade, I suppose, is Gremlo trapped inside the coil here, being right-clicked to death by Soul. The raindrops might actually get him out of this one, as actually the counter initiation is on point from Arkosh. There's Pale Horse, who is going to throw the unstable concoction as they pick up the kill, and Gremlo tips Rises. You'll love to see it. It's Gremlo making a good play and returning the favor now. Arkosh certainly feeling things. As the tips, there they go. A little bit discombobulated, but they will eventually be able to connect them here onto Rises. A 5-man tip wall.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's middle
I have to say I'm a
under
little bit
attack.
puzzled, because Monster is the offlaner for Alpha, but somehow he's more farmed than Rises was last game already.
Yeah, Rises had a pretty pathetic game number 2. Already doing a lot better this time around, though, on the Weaver. Lincoln's, again, as soon as that is completed, I do expect him to make some aggressive moves. Here's Gremlo, actually. Gremlo's baiting. And they don't have vision here onto Crow, who lies in wait underneath the tier 2 tower in the fog of war. Rises does not have Lincoln Sphere yet, so this could be potentially chaotic for him, as there's the Mystic Flare into the double silence. Pingu is tanking for him, and they don't have enough damage to get through the both of them. A nice play there as Crow, yeah, he's going to go ahead and tip Pingu, who made the exact right counter play there. The rest of Alpha, though, they're incoming here as they look to close the door and potentially dive for a tier 2 tower. At least Flea and Monster are looking for the play, and there goes Flea, makes the Avatos play onto Monster, who should collect this kill with ease. Down he goes. Nice play there by Alpha.
Yeah, Weaver deceptively tanky even without the Lincolns. Definitely need level 12 on
Radiant's
Pro
bottom
soon.
tower is under attack.
Yeah, and unfortunately not getting kills is going to delay that level 12 a bit longer. Tier 1 tower is taken here. Arkosh have fortified, which does open up tier 1 mid lane to be taken easily. As I believe they fortified for the tier 2 down bottom. No backdoor defense. Acorn Raider to tank for it. Down it goes. Pale Horse is going to show up. He's got a BKB. And maybe another item on the way here. He did juke his courier. It's the bots, actually. So no Blink Dagger immediately after the BKB, which is usually what I like to see on an Alchemist to really get him involved in the fights, but he feels like he can delay it a little bit longer and go for the bots first. Flea makes another jump. It's going to be back on Monkey this time. I thought it was Gremlo, who rebounds off the creep wave that Flea did aggro. Nice job there. Pale Horse joining the fights. He's going to stun. No, he doesn't stun himself. He's got vision onto Flea, thanks to the tier 1 tower existing. I think that's all Pale Horse wants out of this engagement. He's going to leave Gremlo for dead. Rudy's going to show up as well. Catches Pingu with the 8th run, but doesn't have the damage. And Flea find another toss-back target here with this ward they've got up. That's a kill onto Crow. Nice job there, and with Lincoln's delivered, Alpha can continue to apply pressure in this bottom lane and perhaps now look to finish off the tier 2 tower.
These tossbacks from Flea, really impressive.
Gonna find another one, he does, and they snap the coil as well onto Rudy, but they just don't have the burst damage they need. Still a pretty sick play, to be honest. That was very nicely executed. Really good.
And Monster is going to have his BKB now. Rises has his Lincolns. This is a very strong timing for Alpha. I don't think that Pale Horse alone is going to be able to stop this.
No, it's kind of annoying as well for Pale Horse because he has to stop farming, which means he's not going to be... You know, really, Alk wants to get to his 6 slot, maybe 7 slot timing if you count like upgraded Blink and you get rid of boots. That's when he's at his peak. Every time he's got to, you know, slow down and fight enemies who also have items that are comparable to his, he's not having a fun time, and neither really is Gremlo. So he's going to drop the lasso onto Flea. Nice flame break there to create a little bit of a gap, but he lacks the damage to really do much about this. At least Monkey's able to escape. But Flea is really owning on this Tiny this game, man. He looks amazing. And here they go. Rises kicking off the fight with the kill on the Crow. Paolo's going to BKB TP away. They, of course, have nothing to go through that one yet, as Monster, who BKBs up, is going to run down Monkey, and it's Rises who gets a second kill with this engagement onto Rudy. This opens up Roche, a fantastic fight there for Alpha, who cracked this game wide open. Not what you want your first BKB on out to look like.
Now they find a DD as well, so that's gonna be a free road for Alpha. Gonna have trouble killing Weaver once, let alone twice.
Well, I mean, they've got the tools to do it, but with BKB up soon here, I imagine for the Weaver, it's not gonna be easy.
Do they have the tools?
I mean, yeah, right. You've got a couple targeted abilities. You've got Silence, you got Skywrath Mage, you've got Lasso. I think if Rise is playing absolutely out of position, he's definitely dragged and killed twice easily through this Aegis. Or if he disconnects, that's another possible tool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I see him dying in one specific case.
Gotcha.
And that is?
Him disconnecting, yeah. He's even closing in on a BKB now.
Another have a toss in the mid lane here. As Rudy disengaging now, or really engaging onto Flea with Gremlo showing up. They should have this easily. The force out from Flea does force him to go a bit further, but not really an overcommitment whatsoever from Arkosh. We're looking for more now. It's Pingu who's going to stand in the way and scout Gremlo.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Monkey making the jump. No Aether Lens yet on this hero as Pale Horse. Not going to stun himself yet. He's been, well, oh goodness. The initiation, though, is very strong from Alpha. As it's going to be Rudy, who's caught. Does get at least that first life off of the Weaver at the cost of his own. Crow TP's away. Still 3 dead. Pale Horse as well on the high ground. Is going to be able to get out. No vision there provided by Alpha. And not a bad fight, really, but the counter initiation is very strong. This puck is like landing multiple hero waning rifts, and Illusory Robe is constantly onto Arkosh.
A nice tiny pick off, but I'm not sure if it was the right call to chase that far. His Firefly was running out and he didn't have a ton of vision there.
BKB was used earlier there by Pale Horse, so still on a 7-second duration charge now. He's probably, relatively speaking, of course he can still get stronger by upgrading the Blink and then eventually getting rid of his bots, but He's probably at his peak relatively soon, I'd say, here in Wingblade. He's got level 3 Chemical Rage. He's going to probably get this level 20 talent of the Unstable Concoction damage, and then he's going to have full AC. That is what I would probably say is the Elk's strongest point of the game. Oh, they've also gotten rid of this Weaver Aegis, but they might be able to get the life here onto Rudy. Aether up, and it's good onto Monster, but there's still Weaver giving chase, who has a BKB now. Nothing Monkey can do about that, but rebound away, which is fairly effective. The Coil's going to whiff, and this does give an opening here for Arkosh to potentially look to find a fight. The Pale Horse continues to farm top lane, and without him, you simply don't have the damage for these cores on Alpha.
Yeah, his BKB was still on cooldown, and without Astral Step charges, it's not really the fight to take, especially if you have to run up to the high ground to do it.
True. Another early gem for Flea as well. You commented on this last game, but he seems to want to try and reduce any kind of advantage that Arkosh can have, whether that be vision or, of course, positioning, with how many times he's been able to get fantastic, really phenomenal tosses out from Flea this entire game.
And contrast that to Pilhoise's concoctions, which have been missing the mark for the most part. I haven't seen him stunned once.
No, he's not been able to stun himself a single time. I think he really needs to watch a Gremlo replay on how that's done. And by the way, speaking of Gremlo, more having to do with Pingu here. Pingu has been a boss all series. Look at his farm. He's out-farmed Gremlo, as has Flea, but I think that's a bit easier for Flea to do than Pingu, but he's found enough space on the map to do so. In the meantime, they will be contesting this little ancient stack here, as they will give the boot to Monster. Monster, who is going for, not Refresher, but instead a Linken's, who you can fully stack that onto your allies, by the way. What I mean by that is you can, even if you actually give multiple Linken's to a single unit, so if Weaver and Monster eventually both want to give Linken's buffs to Puck, you have to use 2 spells to get to do that, not just 1. They do fully stack. Might throw Arkosh for a bit of a loop here, as it's going to be Alpha the ones who smoke up and sweep the map. But will not find anyone home in the enemy triangle, except just for the these new, what are these, frostbitten golems.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Pelhor's happy to farm up, and he's actually queued up his Ag Scepter. Okay, well, it's not going to be his, of course. He's going to gift it to someone. I dare say it'll be Rudy's Ag Scepter. I think he's got a Kaya on the way with a Sanj in the quick buy. And I accept it. That'll do nicely here to at least give a little bit more options for the catch. Great way to counter the mass Linken's as well that Alpha are currently building, as you cannot block those silences on the Resonant Pulse with Linken's.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good call, to be honest.
We'll see here what Pale Horse wants. Does he want to go for Mini Battle Fury to continue farming all game, or will he take the Unstable Concoction damage? I really like this talent these days. No, he's gone. Okay, he's going to continue farming. They have scouted him as well, Alpha, with this ward that they've placed. So Arkosh might be a bit on the back foot here if they try to engage. You're going to see now Monkey behind. And there goes Flea, long-range avalanche, but he's too afraid what lurks in the shadows to go really any further, and for good reason. As Gremlo's going to TP on back, good force staff though, as Pale Horse once again is not going to stun himself, throws it instead onto Flea. But the counter initiation from Monster, he's stealing a good amount of damage. This fight already looking not so good here for Arkosh, as Pale Horse is going to BKB and TP away. Oh no, they've lost Crow. Gremlo as well is going to be on the run, and that's a fantastic initiation there by Monster. He knows what he's got to do. Find a link onto the Elk, and he just completely ruins his fight.
Yeah, it's really all Monster needs to do. He doesn't need 2 BKBs with a refresher. He just needs a single link onto Pilhoise, and his fight is over.
Oh yeah. Without a BKB here, Alpha, they might consider looking for more. But I think they're going to make the Sage play here and back up. Look to set up some vision for next Roche. Continue taking over the map. They've amassed themselves an 11k net worth lead here. The team against an Alchemist. If you remove 5k here from the Elk just to kind of call it even, it's an even worse net worth lead here for Alpha, at least if you're an Arkosh fan. As Slack says, this is a potentially relegation party here for Arkosh Gaming. To remind everyone of the stakes, Arkosh with one single win, could be this one, could be the win over Dogchamp, they are safe from relegation. But the rate this game is going, it seems like they're going to need to take that win versus Dogchamp later this week in order to stay safe. And again, historically, Arkosh being eliminated by teams who've already secured the position next season, well, they've done that before to a different team. So Karma might be swinging on back here towards them as Gremlo with a Blink Dagger. Not going to make an aggressive jump here. Solo with Lincoln is a bit of a tough target, as well as, of course,
Dire's
Aeon
bottom
Disc.
tower is under
Strong
attack.
Dispel, of course, will, if that should proc during a lasso, does free the Pug. However, Flea doesn't have one. They're going to pull him back into the Mystic Flare, which is still invisible for me. Monster as well, running on in. Huge initiation by the Pug. The coil connects onto 2. Gremlo's quite weak already. There's a full Gleipnir for Rise. That is going to guarantee 2 kills. And Crow on the run. BK beat up. Rises. He's going to completely ignore Crow. Pale Horse, is he going to do it? Yes! He stuns himself at last, as Rises is going to get that kill onto Crow. Rudy, in the meantime, found himself in a bit of a weird position here, as I believe Elk finally has got himself... Did he gift an axe? Who did he gift it to?
Oh, there's another one.
Oh, and that actually is consequential. He might actually end up dying for this one. At least forced to BKB and run, but Monster's got the damage. He's got the BKB charge. Pale Horse being chased into his base with the regen, though, is going to be able to at least walk off Monster. But that's another BKB charge used just to run away. I don't think we've seen a single BKB charge used this game, Wingblade, used defensively. I might be wrong about that, but at least maybe the last 4 have been used defensively. And it is Void Spirit who has Axe, by the way. He's gotten both Resonant Pulse charges.
I think you're right about the BKBs. At what point does Pale Horse just buy a Lincoln's? It really sucks to buy Lincoln's on Alchemist, but it also really sucks to run away every single fight because you are linked.
Yep. Yeah, it's not been easy, unfortunately, for this Alchemist. He stunned himself twice that fight, didn't he? Oh, of course.
Bingo.
Oh, doesn't have vision.
Oh,
He stunned himself again, and that might be a counter initiation. Rises with the Gleipnir Monster as well. He's going to find the link. Pale Horse, this time he doesn't have BKB for 25 seconds. He's only lost 79 damage, though, as they... Oh, no, but Arkosh are still losing the fight. They never even got through the Razor. Oh no, Alpha Soul and Rise. There's so much damage on the cores here. As Arkosh go for a cheeky pickoff, there's going to be the second Gleipnir as well. This one is going to connect on the Pale Horse. The quick dispose at least is going to get him maybe just out of reach here of Alpha, but with 4 dead on Arkosh, I suspect, yep, they're going to continue diving. Another BKB charge forced as Pale Horse continues to be on the run. Rise is giving chase. Gleipnir in 2 will not go into the fountain, however. In fact, is simply going to time-lapse on back. That's the 3rd time now the fight's kicked off with a self-stun, I believe, onto the Alk. Another duration of no BKB. This is pain. This is simply just pain for Arkosh Gaming.
Yeah, they really try to force it there, but if you can't start off a fight with immediately killing someone, it's probably not gonna be a good fight, especially in this game.
Big silences onto the crowd. Pingu is going to be nuked down, but Rises immune to Mystic Flare with the BKB. Pops on the back lines. Is going to get the time lapse thanks to the Ag Scepter that Rises has? No. Sorry, it was just a jaunt on back. Monster's in deep as well. Hasn't found that great of a link. Only 39 damage, so Pale Horse can fight through this even without the BKB. 30 seconds till he has that back up. Everyone else here on the side of Arkosh is falling like flies. Pale Horse with a blink stun there, but it's going to be Rudy who's in trouble and dead on any of his tier 4s, as Rises will simply dive him and walk away. Bottom barracks down. Mid lane doesn't have a wave, but they can go for top, which is going to be the move that Alpha look to make.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
2 sets of racks here. Tier 2 in the mid lane being the saving grace for Arkosh Gaming. That Glimmer Cape without protection is so punishing.
That's basically what got us to this position. Full team wipe here, fantastic opportunity as Arkosh they were in the business of looking for a pick-off and backing out, right? With a pick-off there, with a man advantage, Alpha maybe don't want to look for a fight. They can look to set up wards. Arkosh then can contest Roche, the second Roche here quite reasonably. That turns into a wild goose chase, which unfortunately for Pale Horse leads directly into 2 lanes of barracks as Arkosh immediately loses the second fight. And now I just think they're really against the wall here. I mean, what can you do against this? Can you contest this? You don't even have that great Roche potential here on Arkosh. Like, or Roche.
Arkosh practically just lost their slot at TI because Gremlin didn't carry dust.
Yep. Very true. They'll still have a TI opens seeding, or I guess closed qualifiers is more accurate here. They'll still have a seeding for that, but won't be very high, and they'll be playing versus the top-seeded NA team here, most likely with this finish of the season. I'm not sure how seeding works, actually. If you don't have any DPC points, I assume it goes off of your highest finish for the DPC season, or perhaps your last season's finish for DPC. I don't know which makes more sense, to be honest. With the amount of roster shuffles in Tier 2, I might argue that probably your most recent finish in DPC season would make sense to me, competitively, right?
I would think so, but we're just spitballing.
I'm just spitballing. I'm no
Radiant's middle
TO.
tower has fallen.
Certainly not on the TI scale either. There's a basher at least. I also see a refresher here from Monster, so he can be much more liberal with his first link and his first BKB, which makes the fights even more difficult here for Pale Horse. He's going to activate the Chemical Rage. Again, he's going to be up against 2 static links this time. Oh yeah, Pale Horse, you get that Wild Wing. You cancel that Hurricane, brother. Absolutely. And once again, the stacking of the Lincolns, which does completely work here. Rises. Yeah, he's going to block the first one, and he's going to be able to evade very nicely the Fey Grenade, which does also break Lincolns, the only under tier 5 neutral item that does. Rises. Lincoln's not going to be broken by Concussive Shot because it's not a targeted ability. They have another Lincolns as well here, still on Monsters. They continue to stack them onto Rises. Rises as well, backed up by an Aegis for 3 minutes. There's going to be the toss back. Oh, it's a pretty good initiation by Gremlo. They get rid of Flea at the very least, but they just absolutely murder Pale Horse. Thanks to the toss back, there can be no help from Arkosh Gaming. Gremlo's now on the run. Oh, that impetus. Oh, it's a meaty one. That one's juicy, as he would say. Rises just diving now, beyond godlike with the double kill. There's the double buyback from Arkosh Game, but there's no buyback on the Alchemist, so there's 3 caught for the Gleipnir Soul immediately to follow up the 3-man Waiting Rift and the Coil. Everyone's just dead, and Pale Horse calls it. He's not going to give Monkey the way out, as Pingu's going to go down, and it's going to be Alpha who take the series 2-1.
They did it. They came back after the humiliating Game 2 defeat.
They did. And a fantastic final fight to kind of initiate this as well with the